Easter weekend 2015. London is empty. The streets of Hatton Garden are quiet. The jewelers are closed. The offices are dark. The whole city has gone home. And that is exactly what they were counting on. Somewhere beneath the streets, inside a vault that was supposed to be impenetrable, a group of old men were drilling through 14 inches of reinforced concrete. Old men. The youngest was in his 50s. The ringleader was 76 years old. They called themselves the Bad Grandpas, and they pulled off the biggest burglary in British history. Hatton Garden. You've probably walked past it and not even noticed. It's a small street in central London, just a few blocks long. But do not let that fool you. For over 300 years, this street has been the heart of the diamond trade in Britain. Every shop front is a jeweler. Every window glitters. And beneath the street, in a vault buried under the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Building, sat hundreds of safety deposit boxes, filled with diamond, gold, and cash, jewelry worth tens of millions of pounds, private property, personal saving, and family heirlooms. Things people thought were safe. They were wrong, because Brian Reader had been watching this building for years. His name was Brian Reader, 76 years old, retired, or so people thought. Reader was not some desperate criminal. He was a professional, a craftsman. He had been doing this his entire life. Decades early, in 1983, Reader had been part of the Brink's robbery, one of the most infamous heists in British history. Gold bars, £26 million worth, stolen from Heathrow Airport. He had survived that. He lived quietly for years. But the pole never really goes away. Reader looked at Hatton Garden Vault and he saw a problem that could be solved. So, he made a plan and he called his friends. They were not young men in black masks. They were not sleek. They were not fast. They were grandfathers. Terry Perkins, 67 years old, a career criminal with a long, cold history. He had robbed a Security Express depot in 1983. £6 million in cash. That crime at the time was the biggest cash robbery ever in England. John Collins, 60, the coordinator, calm, careful, precise. Daniel Jones, 58, the one they trusted with the technical work. And then there was Carl Wood, Billy Lincoln, and Hugh Doyle, drivers, lookouts, supports. Together, they had over 200 years of combined criminal experience. Those were men who had been doing this since before internet existed, before CCTV, before digital forensics. But the world had changed. They were not. Thursday, April 2nd, 2015, 9 p.m. The city is slowing down. A white Ford Transit van pulls into Hatton Garden. It parks. The men climb out. Old men, moving slowly, carrying bags. To anyone watching, they looked like a workman, maintenance crew, nothing unusual. They entered the building using an emergency lift. They disabled the elevator. They climbed down into the lift shaft. The temperature underground is different. Cold, still. The air smells like dust and metal. Everything echoes differently when you are underground. They found the wall of the vault. Concrete, steel reinforced, half a meter thick. They turned on the drill, and nothing happened. The drill broke. The concrete was too hard. The bit snapped. The men looked at each other in the dim light, and they packed out their tools, and they went home. That was Thursday. They came back Friday and failed again, but they were not finished, not even close. Saturday, April 4th. Good Friday had passed. The streets are dead. London is a ghost town. They had a new drill, a healthy DD350. Industrial, powerful, the kind of machine used to core through bedrock, back down the lift shaft, back into the darkness, back to that cold concrete wall. This time, the drill bit held. They drilled for hours. Concrete dust filling the air, choking lungs, burning the eyes. They drilled 3 holes, side by side, then used a spreader, a hydraulic device normally used by fire and rescue teams, to force the wall apart. The concrete cracked, then it gave way. The hole was 25 centimeters wide, just 25 centimeters, barely enough for a man to squeeze through. One by one, this old, squeaking, stiff-jointed man climbed through that hole, and they were inside. Imagine the silence. You are underground. The city above you is asleep, and you are standing in a vault, surrounded by walls of little locked boxes. Each box belongs to someone, a family, a business, a lifetime of savings. The men got to the work. They used angle grinders. They forced open box after box. Gold, diamonds, cash, and jewels. They worked through Saturday night, through Sunday morning, for over 8 hours. When they finally left, they had emptied 73 safety deposit boxes. They carried the contents out in wheel bins and bags, like rubbish. The estimated value of what they took, £14 million. Some estimates say more. The biggest burglary in English legal history. Here is the part that will make your jaw drop. During the robbery, the alarm went off at 12:21 a.m. on Saturday night. A motion sensor in the vault triggered an alarm. The signal went to a monitoring company. The monitoring company called the key holder, and no answer. They tried again, still nothing. Standard procedure was to call the police, but the alarm was classified as grade 2, non-urgent, so they didn't. The police were never called. The alarm was locked and ignored, while 73 boxes were being torn open underground, while £14 million in jewels were being stuffed into bags. The alarm company closed the ticket and went back to sleep. The robbery was only discovered on Tuesday morning, when a member of staff arrived for the work and found a hole in the wall of the vault. The Metropolitan Police were called. Scotland Yard launched what they called Operation Livid, one of the biggest investigations London had ever seen, and immediately they hit CCTV footage. Everywhere, London is one of the most watched cities in the world. Cameras on everywhere, cameras in every alley. The men had tried to hide their faces, but they hadn't tried enough. Investigators saw the white van. They tracked it through the city, and then they saw something extraordinary. Brian Reader, the 76-year-old man mastermind, had taken public transport home after the biggest burglary in British history, after climbing through a hole in a vault wall underground. He got on a bus, the number 96. He used his Oyster card, his registered Oyster card, registered to his real name and address. The police had him, but the investigation went deeper because those men were old, and an old man have old habits. They like to talk. Police placed listening devices in a car used by two of the suspects, Terry Perkins and John Collins. And they listened, and the men talked. They talked about the job. They talked about the loot. They talked about who got what, casually, comfortably, like men who believed they had gotten away with it. There was also a phone. Daniel Jones had bought a phone to communicate during the heist. He thought it was untraceable. It was not. Investigators used the phone's signals to track movement, to connect people, to place, to time. The net was closing, slowly, quietly, the same way a vault door swings shut. May 19, 2015, early morning. While most of London was still in bed, the police units moved simultaneously. Multiple addresses, multiple suspects, all at the same time. They found the man at home. Terry Perkins was eating breakfast. Some of the jewels were recovered. Cash was found hidden in walls and under floorboards. Gold buried in gardens, but a huge portion of whole was never found. Millions of pounds in diamonds and cash simply gone. To this day, the full treasure has never been recovered. In March 2016, the sentences were handed down. The mastermind pleaded guilty. He received 6 years and 3 months. He was released early due to poor health. He died in 2022. Terry Perkins received 7 years. He died in prison in 2018. Heart failure. He was 69 years old. John Collins, Daniel Jones, Carl Wood, all sentenced, all sent to prison. The families whose boxes were robbed, many of them received a little or no compensation. Their diamonds are still missing. Their memories are still gone.